Hey, Coach, kind of give us an update on how things are going so far. And I know that at least you've had some decent weather up
Yeah.
until now a little
Yeah.
bit. You've had a chance to compete too. Talk about the early portion of the season.
Well, we started off probably in the same boat that everybody else did. We had a lot of snow days, a lot of nasty cold temperatures. So, we were probably a little behind the eight ball to start with. We had our first meet last Wednesday at Anderson, and the girls won, and the boys lost by 20 points, which basically is just two races. So it was a close meet the entire way. We had a lot of good performances, a lot of great times. We did a lot of experimentation with kids in different events to find out where we can have some success later on in the season at the NCC and at sectional. And the kids responded. I mean, I think they responded. One, they were ready for the competition, and two, they were ready for the warm weather. So both of those were a benefit for us.
Where might your strength lie at this portion of the season?
Well, probably on the guys' side, probably to be honest with you, probably our throws. Nate Treywick is throwing over 50 feet in the shot. Jordan Pennington is, around 46 in the shot. So we've got two athletes that can score really well. And then we've got about three or four kids that are just right behind Jordan Pennington at, 45, 46 as well. So at any given day, we probably have four or five kids that, are close to that 50-foot mark. On the other side, the discus, so the same way, about 120, 130, we got three or four kids that, are out there pushing each other. So I would say our field events right now with the throws are probably our strengths.
Are you surprised by that?
I saw it kind of growing the last couple of years, but overall, yeah, I'm kind of surprised with it because we've been kind of down in it the last, I don't know, probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I mean, if you go back 10 or 12 years, we've had some outstanding throwers, but, then there was this big gap. And then, so now we're coming back to the strength of the throws. So kind of excited about that.
How about the girls' side? What's your strength right now?
Probably the same thing. Probably, we got some sprint strength with Linnea Hogg and Tasia Ferguson, but Deja Long and Sarah Richards in the shot and disc. Both are throwing well in the discus. Both are throwing well in the shot, and then right behind them we've got again 3 or 4 girls that are pushing them. So probably sprints in the throws in the boys and sprints and throws in the girls too.
Coach, from a numbers standpoint, do you like what you have? Because you have competition there that on both sides. You have athletes that are pushing others to get better. Do you like your competition
Yeah.
and the numbers?
I like our numbers, and I like our competition. I mean, we're really strong in the middle distance with the numbers. We've got 12, 13 kids that can run anywhere from the 400 to up to the mile, and on the boys and the girls side, so we've got a lot of kids pushing for that varsity spot. So when I've got to whittle it down to the top 2, there's going to be some disappointed people, but there's also going to be some strength at the top 2 because they've had to beat out 10 or 12 kids to get to that particular point.
Coach, this week, depending on the weather, of course, talk a little bit about your schedule and maybe even for the next couple of weeks, because it's going to be busy. I mean, you got to get a lot of stuff in a short amount of time.
Yeah,
what do you have coming up?
this week we have Jay County on Tuesday. Again, the weather's supposed to be kind of bad, so we'll see what happens. Saturday, we're at the Marion Relays. The Marion Relays this year are going to be run at Indiana Wesleyan, which will be a benefit for us because that's where our conference meet is. So we'll get used to the track, get used to the long jump board and stuff like that. And then we go boys only Monday at Mount Vernon, but then we go to North Central next weekend against Carmel and Ben Davis and Fishers and Hamilton Southeastern. So we got a really tough schedule the next 2 weeks.
Okay. I haven't had a chance to ask you. You have no home meets,
We have no home meets.
but next year, hopefully, when everything gets going on the new track and everything, talk a little bit about what that's going to do for your program.
We have everything's away this year, so because they couldn't tell me exactly when they're going to start demolition on our track. I'm sure it's going to wait till sometime it gets warm, but maybe someday that they just come in too. Next year we're going to have some home meets. Probably we're going to try to balance out the schedule. So instead of having 4 one year and none the next year, we're going to probably try to have 2 and 2 or something like that. So we can try to balance out the meets. What 2 will be home next year? Right now, I don't know, so we'll have to see.
How is that going to affect, from a training standpoint, this year? Let's say they were to come in the next couple of weeks and say, let's get this thing going. How does that affect you guys?
Well, distance and middle distance probably won't affect us a whole lot. And in general, probably won't either because we're lucky enough to have a good relationship with Earlham, which is just a mile and a half, mile down the road. So Earlham has agreed to let us come over and practice at their facilities. So it probably won't affect us as much as one would think about it, but that's just because of the good relationship we have with Earlham.